give what might appear obvious, the background, again, of what has been going on, plus the decision of cabinet yesterday. And I thought I could read this very brief statement. Then if there are questions and clarifications that the members would want, I will be very happy to answer. So the statement is as follows. On Thursday, 11th October 2018, at about 2:30 p.m., a landslide combined with floods washed away many of our people in Bukalasi Trading Center, Bududa district. So far, 43 bodies have been recovered, and 21 people are nursing injuries in the different health centers and hospitals. 144 houses were washed away, 13 villages were affected, 858 people displaced, and 12,000 people are overall affected in the district. The Bukalasi sub-county disaster was caused by a landslide which occurred about 2 kilometers away from the disaster site. The landslide triggered boulders, that is huge rocks, into River Sume, which carried them down to Bukalasi Trading Center. The boulders blocked the river channel, causing the river to burst its banks and sweep through the trading center, washing away our people. The Office of the Prime Minister quickly sent a rescue and recovery team led by Brigadier General Stephen Oluka to join the District Disaster Management Committee, and together with the Uganda Police and UPDF and Uganda Red Cross, they carried out a search and rescue and recovery efforts, as well as disaster loss and damage assessment. We are happy to note that Uganda National Roads Authority this time was very quick to send us excavators, which helped us to attempt to get those who were able to get. It is important for the country to note that relief items have already been dispatched, and more will continue to be dispatched depending on the assessment, which is continuing to progress until such a time when the situation normalizes. The President gave a condolence contribution of 5 million shillings to support families of each deceased person and 2 million to each injured person during the faction, for praying for the souls of the dead and for supporting those who are injured for recovery in the different health facilities, as we have noted. The Bukalasi floods and landslide disaster is not the first. It is important to note this. It's not the first one to happen this year. From the month of May alone this year, when the first season rains began, to the month of October, during the second rain season, Bugisu sub-region has experienced 66 landslides. The 66 landslides which happened in Namisindwa, it was happened in a place in Namisindwa, in Manafa, in Sironko, in Bududa and Bulambuli, were, however, effectively managed by the Opium Disaster Department and the respective district disaster management committees, fortunately with 0 deaths. Though many houses and livestock were washed and a lot of property destroyed. It is important to note that the 66 landslides, some of them were larger than even the 2010 Namesi landslide, which killed over 150 people. However, like I said, since we were lucky, no death was registered. That is why it did not make a lot of news. But I can also let you know that those of you who accompanied me to Namisindwa were able to see one of the landslides there, and then saw the damage that had been occasioned to that place at that time. It is important to note that the disaster department has trained communities in each parish in the mountain on how to monitor early signals of landslides. And the department has given each community leader smartphones and has given megaphones for alerting one another and communication with the disaster department. The communities take pictures, the community leaders, they take pictures when the cracks are seen in some of the area, And then those pictures are sent to the NECOC in the office of the Prime Minister here, the National Emergency Operations and Management Center. And this NECOC operates 24 hours a day. What has government done? Government, and this is extremely critical. It is true that there has been long delays in the resettlement of persons at risk of landslides because of two factors, and I want this noted. One, the people themselves were at first unwilling to be relocated from their area. That's a fact. Two, there were some politicians in Bugisu sub-region, some, and I want this underlined, in Bugisu sub-region, who were mobilizing people not to accept to be relocated. And I can be quoted here. Hon.Musa is one of such politicians. It is him and his God to reconcile in future. However, I am happy to note that resettlement is now possible because there is consensus. Both the people and the politicians are accepting relocation of the people, particularly those at high risk. I am happy to note also that in the sitting of Cabinet yesterday, chaired by His Excellency the President, Cabinet directed resettlement of persons at risk of landslides to begin immediately in the 2,868 acres, as the director had indicated to you here. It should begin immediately, and I want to emphasize that I have just received the call as I was coming that I should be going to launch the exercise the day after tomorrow. Cabinet has made money available for activities to begin immediately. The amount will be, the release of these resources will depend on the work that will be done. But overall, 32 billion shillings, over 32 billion shillings has been approved. But the releases will depend on the work that we'll be doing. So it will not be like this money will come at once. It will be us to say, we want this, we want this, we want this, and government will be releasing it accordingly. So 6,300 people, that's 900 households, will be relocated to that place immediately. Government will give each household 30 iron sheets, 50 bags of cement, 20,000 burnt bricks, 10 tons of sand, roofing timber, nails, 2 doors, and 4 windows to build each, so that they, owners of the people, the relocatees themselves, will participate in the building so that they own the property. In addition, government will support them in bush clearing. Government will open for them gardens using tractors. It will help them planting materials, and relief food will continue to be extended, given to them until when they make their first harvest. The next financial year, according to the decision of Cabinet yesterday, the next financial year, government will resettle 10,000 persons at risk of landslide to safer locations. And again, the emphasis I want to make here, the emphasis will be given that the space must be relocated within the Bugisu sub-region. If there is space got within the Bugisu sub-region, 10,000. If we fail to get such space within Bugisu sub-region, that's when other options, say like we did in Kriadongo, will be looked at. There are up to, and it is also important to note, from the assessment so far done, there are up to 100,000 people who are at risk of who need resettlement. 100,000 people in the Masaba region. All persons at risk will be resettled, and the places will be, and these places that they will vacate, government will use it to plant forests so that at least we can restore the ecosystem that has been very badly damaged in the mountain. So this is going to happen, friends, and I want to say that I am happy there is consensus now. I am sure that even if Hon.Musa and his group remain really trying to oppose it, this time his opposition will not stop us. We are going to move to resettle our people independent of his wishes. Thank you.
Thank you. Just for the record, Honorable Nambeshe, by the way, before he became a member of parliament, was LC5 chairman. That's why he could successfully prevent relocation. And you would say, how was he doing it? Honorable Nambeshe and others would say, Museveni wants to take away his voters to other places. Because if you go to Kiryandongo, you will not be available easily to vote for him or for the local politician. If you go to Bulambuli, which is a different district, you will not be able to vote in the next election. So that's really how they frustrated the people, and the people believed them. And I hope, Honorable Minister, when you return here for questions, you also need to deal with this false claim by the media that the Bagisu you took to Kiryandongo have abandoned. It's a false claim, and I challenge the media. You should go actually to Kiryandongo and find out the people who were taken there. What percentage are there? How successful are they? To the contrary, there have been more people who have voluntarily joined the others. Thank you. Now, may we take the questions in the format. Honorable Minister of Local Government first. We first take her questions, and on the taxi affairs. Thank you. Pardon? Yes. Your name and Honorable Minister, we shall take all those questions, perhaps 4 or 5 at a go, and then you come here to respond. And I would beg that when, after responding in English, you recap for them in Uganda.
Mine is just on the, you mentioned the number of taxis to be 34,000. What's the number of buses?
Okay. 34,000 taxis. What is the number of the buses? Any other question on, I think, Honorable Namyangu, the one on the taxis? You came late, as usual.
No, I've been around here. I remember there was an outcry where these buses, before they came up with this policy, they used to charge them in every state, and whenever they are leaving the bus park, they charge them. And when they are arriving the other side, they were also being charged. Honorable was clear that this is going to stop. I just want to know how we are going to make sure such issues don't continue, especially these stages on the routes. And I know there were companies which were even established to collect the monies from these taxis on the way and so on. Those people were employed in that industry to get that money on the way. And how are you going to ensure that we don't become another face in our villages?
Thank you. I think that's about all for you, Honorable Minister. The kingpins along the road, the kingpins, who even throw spikes on at taxis not to go.